Gwen, we're already on this side of things whenever you're ready to start.
Great, thank you. We've got another couple of minutes here. I'll wait until 9 o'clock and then we'll get started. Okay, it looks like it is 9 o'clock. People want to turn on their cameras and we'll get started. Actually, how many city councilors do we have?
I count 3.
It's a slow start to the morning here. Well, we will get through some of our housekeeping stuff. I will start the meeting. This is still a virtual meeting, so if the public wants to participate, they can go to our website and go to the agendas and click on the link to join the meeting to give public comment. If you are phoning in, you need to press *9 to raise your hand and *9 to lower your hand. You can also send us emails at council@ci.missoula.mt.us, and you can leave a voicemail at 406-552-6012. Let me see, I'm trying to think. We don't have enough for a quorum yet.
And actually, Gwen, if you can hold off for just a second, for some reason, I've been having internet issues this morning and I can't get into eScribe. It was in eScribe, it was all going good, and then all of a sudden I lost my connection. So a minute or two might not be that big.
All right, let's hit pause for a couple of minutes. I think we've got plenty of time this morning for our items. So,
all right, thank you.
I don't know if it's helpful, Gwen, but John Contos contacted me to say he would miss. And then I just saw the message from Jesse just came in. Sandra sent a message. Jordan's out. I think Mirta might have said she'd be 15 minutes late. Those are the ones
yep.
I know about. But John, Sandra, and Jesse, I saw messages up to just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, and Julie Merritt and Merritt.
Right.
That's 5 out of 12.
And I know Jordan in a previous message said, I think he's out through Thursday.
We might not have a quorum this morning, but that's all right. I think we're going to be able to get through our items.
Yeah.
Tell me when you're ready, Lisa. Since we
And
made
I just popped back up, so let's hope it stays.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me go back to my agenda here. All right, so we are back to go forward with the meeting. Let's go ahead and do roll call. I don't think we have a quorum, but we have what we have, and we'll just move forward then. Looks like someone else is just coming into the meeting right now too.
All right, Stacy Anderson.
Present.
Mirta Becerra is out. John Contos is out. Heather Harp.
She's out this morning, I believe. Yeah.
Jordan Hess is out. Gwen Jones.
Here.
Julie Merritt is out. Jesse Ramos is out. Amber Sherrill.
Present.
Sandra Vasica. Here's
She's out.
Brian Von Losberg
Here.
and Heidi West.
Here.
So it looks like we have 5 people present.
Great. So I don't know that we'll get anyone else. If we do, we still may not reach a quorum. But we will just note on all items that we did not have a quorum, but they can still, if we vote on them and it's unanimous, go on the consent agenda, et cetera. Okay, Lisa?
All right.
We handle it. Great. We have minutes from the July 2nd, 2021 meeting. Were there any changes to those minutes? Seeing none, we will go forward and those will be approved. And I'm calling for public comment on items not on the agenda, but I do not see anyone in the waiting room as an attendee. So we will continue on with the agenda. So the first item, thank you for your patience, Tina. The first item is the contract with the municipal court for a 3-year maintenance support contract renewal. And Tina Reinecke from Municipal Court is here to present on that. Good morning. We can't hear you. You're muted. There you go.
Good morning, councilors. I'm Tina Reinecke, the Municipal Court Administrator. And on behalf of Municipal Court, I wanted to say thank you today to each of you for the time and energy that you're committing to the city and to the benefit of the court. Today, I am asking council to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a contract to extend our current 3-year maintenance agreement for 2 courtroom display systems and Polycom devices. The portion of the contract that's related to the Polycom devices has to be paid in full in fiscal year 22. That's the way Polycom dictates that payment. And so that amount would be $8,134. And then the portion of this new contract related to the courtroom display systems in the amount of $33,387 will be paid each fiscal year at a cost of $11,129. Our current baseline budget for this item since fiscal year 19 has been $12,246. So counselors will find a new request in the fiscal year 22 budget documents for the difference needed for this contract, which is $4,783. The recommended motion is I move the city council approve and authorize the mayor to sign a 3-year maintenance support contract with AVI Systems in the amount of $41,521. And I'd like to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Tina. Appreciate that. Are there any questions from councilors? Ms. Anderson.
Thanks so much for all of that. Just a quick question on what fund the 41,000 will be coming from. Is it a general fund contribution? Is it from
General fund.
Okay, municipal. Okay.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, any other questions? Then I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Sherrill.
I'd be happy to make the recommended motion.
Thank you. And I'm calling for public comment on the motion, which is in order. We do not have anyone attending in the waiting room. Mr. Von Lossberg.
Thanks. Tina, you might have covered this. My apologies. With our eventual move to the 3 courtrooms, how does that fit in, and 3 judges, how does that fit in with this? Is there an effect there at all?
The beauty of the display systems that we installed in FY19, number one, they have been outstanding. We have not found these systems problematic at all, and they are completely movable. We will be disassembling the parts and moving them to our new courts.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And to just follow up on that, do we need any extra capacity by going from 2 to 3 courtrooms, or no?
Absolutely. That is something we probably will be discussing down the road as part of the CIP process. But yes, we definitely, in our courtroom systems, will need additional display.
All right, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, it sounds like.
That's why we kept it at just the 2 systems for now.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you so much for clarifying. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, we will take a roll call vote. Lisa.
Okay, I have again lost my internet connection, so I'm trying to go from memory on everybody who's here, and I'll just take manual notes. Brian Von Lossberg.
Yes.
Okay, Gwen Jones.
Yes.
Amber Sherrill.
Yes.
Heidi West.
Yes.
Stacy Anderson.
Yes.
Did I get everyone?
I believe you did.
Okay, thank you. So that was unanimous for the 5 people in attendance.
Great. Quick question to Lisa or Marty or Brian. If we've lost our internet connection, are we not streaming? And
Well, it appears that we are streaming. The internet connection that I'm having issues with is the one that I attached to eScribe with. So it does appear that we're still live on YouTube, and I think we're still streaming to the encoder, but I can't check until I have internet again. Marty, do you have any ideas?
Yes, so I think the problem is Lisa logs in through a home session and the home session is down, but we wouldn't have this meeting and she couldn't talk to us if she didn't have internet. So quickly, I will double check that the meeting is still streaming. Usually eScribe, even if the admin cannot see the interface, eScribe is streaming the video out because it's web-based. It doesn't care if we can see it or not. And indeed, there you are. Streaming.
Wonderful. So I will just take some manual notes at this point, and when I can get back into my home session, I will work from what we have recorded. So apologize for the confusion. And Marty, thank you so much for your help.
great.
I sent an incident into IT.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, great. Just as long as we're still connecting with the public, I just wanted to confirm that. And thank you, Tina, for the presentation. That motion passes, noting that we did not have a quorum, and that can go onto the consent agenda. So I think we're good. Thank you. Thanks, Tina. All right, the second item is 3.2, reappointment to the Public Art Committee. The mayor is not here to present today, but we had this is to confirm the mayor's reappointment of Danielle Vasquez to the Public Art Committee for a term beginning July 1st, 2021 and expiring on June 30th, 2025. I do remember when we interviewed Ms. Vasquez, and I think we were all pretty excited about putting her on the art committee, so I'm glad to see that she wants to re-up. Were there any, not that I can answer any questions, but any questions or comments or a motion? Ms. Sherrill.
Yeah, I remember her, and I would be happy to make the recommended motion. And I just want to say that I'm thankful that we have a community and citizens that are willing to do these and put their effort and expertise to work. So I'm happy to make the motion.
Great, thank you. That motion is in order, and I will call for public comment on it. There is no one attending in the waiting room for public comment. So back to counselors. Ms. Sherrill, your hand is up. Did I just not take it down from the first? There you go. Okay. Anyone else? Any other comments? That motion is in order, so we will take a roll call vote.
Okay, so we have Brian Von Lossberg,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Heidi West,
Yes.
and Stacy Anderson.
Yes.
All right, so that's unanimous for everyone in attendance.
Great, thank you. That will go onto the consent agenda, noting that we did not have a quorum. The next item, 3.3, is the second appointment to the Public Art Committee to confirm the mayor's appointment of Tiana Grise, forget how you say her name, to the Public Art Committee. She also is, I believe she is reapplying. Were there any comments or questions from council? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Sherrill.
Just keep making the motions. I would be happy for the reasons that I stated in my last comment to make the recommended motion.
Thank you. And I'll call for public comment. There is no one in the attending room. So any other comments or questions from council?
I think I've lost.
Right, we will take a roll call vote. Lisa.
Oh, all right, Brian Von Lossberg,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Heidi West,
Yes.
and Stacy Anderson.
Yes.
So that's unanimous for all in attendance.
Great, thank you. That can go on to the consent agenda, noting that we did not have a quorum. Next item, 3.4, contract for professional services with Black Knight Security and Investigation. And we have Mike Brady here to present on that. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. This is the contract for the private security company that will be working here in City Hall. As you may or may not be aware, when we did our reopening June 14th, we put in place a plan for security that includes the City Hall facility, City Council chambers, and also some footbeat walk around the downtown buildings here between Council chambers and City Hall. So the plan is to have 2 of these guards working between 8 and 5 out of the new entrance at City Hall. One will be stationed at the entrance the entire time. The other one is roving around the facilities, checking the public spaces and the facilities downtown here. This contract also calls for 1 additional security officer for committee meetings. So when we go back into in-person hybrid meetings, there will be screening by 1 of these people at the door. And then the intention is to have a police officer in your chambers with you. And the same will be true for your Monday night council meetings. We'll have a screening at the door, and then we'll have the police officer in the council chambers. The contract is for a year. During that time, we'll work with you on evaluating the how well it works, if we need changes to this, and obviously as we move to hybrid and bring things back in person, we can't plan for every thing that might come up, but we have the ability to adjust this as we go along and address some of those needs. On this proposal, we put out requests for proposals. We had 4 respondents. I believe there's an attachment to your packet that listed those 4. All 4 met the basic needs of the contract, or excuse me, of the proposal. And Black Knight was the lowest hourly cost. We then went back through the proposals to ensure that that not just the lowest cost was met, but all the needs and the scope was met. And so the referral coming to you is to approve the contract for security services at City Hall and council chambers, and approve and authorize the mayor to sign the contract with Black Knight. And I can answer any questions if you have.
Great, thank you, Mike. All right, Mr. Von Lossberg.
Thanks. I'm happy to put the motion on the floor. I don't have any questions, but I'm sure some colleagues do. I wanted to thank Mike for his work on this. And, there's been some dialogue, as he might have referenced, over the past many weeks about security, and just an opportunity to remind folks how important this is to me and others, that council members, staff, and the public are safe and feel safe participating in their local government. So thanks, Mike.
Great, thank you. That motion is in order. Ms. Anderson?
Yes, thanks so much, President Von Lossberg, for those comments. I agree with you. My questions are for Mr. Brady in regards to will the officers from Black Knight be armed?
Yes, they are.
May I have a follow-up?
Yes.
Given that these folks will be interacting with the public, do we know what kind of training that they've had? I know that, our Missoula police officers go through extensive training, both, weapons handling, non-lethal force handling, de-escalation training, non-bias. I mean, the list is very extensive and it's continual, and they represent the city and work to keep us safe. And these contract officers will also be interfacing with the public quite frequently. And so I'm curious what type of training that they have gone through, and if there's any additional trainings that we as a part of this contract could require.
Yes, they are all required to be state certified, both to be security officer and to carry the firearm. They do have continuing education requirements for that certification. I can get you more specifics if you need. We've also set up what we call post protocols, and that is how we want them to treat the public coming into our facilities and around our facilities. And it's based off of questions. It's structuring their interactions as a conversation. So people coming into the building are asked, first off, what their business is in the building. And then they're asked if they're carrying any weapons. If they are, then we go through steps to determine if they can legally possess that weapon or not. And if they're going to court, then there's an elevated conversation that occurs because there's a court order that no weapons are allowed in the, excuse me, the first floor or the courtrooms. So they will also ask a question as to whether or not they have any COVID symptoms. So our first and foremost, it's an interaction with the community, and it's customer service based. And then there's the ability for them to get police response for those disruptive incidents or anybody that's refusing to follow those directions that are given at the door. And also there will be interaction between the security guard and the police officer on site at your meetings, both in committee and in council. I believe the contract calls for an additional 16 hours of a continuing education for those guards that are assigned to City Hall each year.
May I have a follow-up?
Yes.
and we may need, I'm open to having this discussion in a different committee meeting. I realize that this is just signing the contract, but I'd be curious to what that additional training is. I would like some more conversation, just because they will be interacting with the public in a law enforcement-esque role. And I know that we, what we ask of our police officers is much more extensive than this. And I realize it's a very different situation, but there's crossover. A question is, in a situation, say a city or in city council chambers, when we have both a uniformed police officer as well as the contract guards, I mean, this is going to be a dumb question, but I would like to have it on the record. If there was an incident, I'm assuming the police officer would be the more superior officer in the situation and be the one sort of, calling the shots if something, God forbid, were to happen. And how does that protocol sort of work between the two of them?
That is correct. The police officer has the powers of arrest. The security guard, as needed, would assist, but only at the direction of the police officer. And then you also have sworn police officers as bailiffs in the court that will work the hall in the court as well. So these security officers are there will be communication and protocols in place for them to de-escalate any situation that they can verbally, to avoid any confrontation, and to notify the police for those disruptive behaviors.
Thanks so much.
Great, thank you. Heidi.
Thank you. I appreciate Stacy's line of questioning, and I think that it'd be great to have some more information about that. But I just have a more general comment, is that every time I go to try and check my mailbox, I get asked for my staff ID. And of course, council doesn't have any staff ID. And so I think I think that's something we need to discuss and maybe get us some sort of ID, so I don't have to talk myself into City Hall every time I want to go. So yeah, just a little.
I think actually you missed the memo on that, Heidi. That
did I?
A month ago, but I'm sure Mike can get it to you again. I know. I think
okay.
I applied for one, and I think my ID is sitting in my cubby, so I have to go get it now. But
perfect. Oh, that's on me then. All right. Thank you.
All righty, Amber.
I think I missed that too, Heidi. I just haven't gone, so I will do that. Mike, thanks. I really appreciate this, and I'm going to be supporting it. I do want to point out that this is another example of legislative changes at the state level that have made it necessary for cities to spend money in this way. So while I really appreciate you handling this, Mike, and we'll be voting for it, I'm annoyed that we are again in a situation that we're needing to spend money based on a legislative change. So my question, and I appreciate both Brian's comments and Stacy's, but Stacy's got me thinking, how will public complaints be handled if there are any? Hopefully there won't be, but how would that be handled? Is there anything that you can clarify on that for me?
You're referencing public complaints about the security company?
I am.
So as it works now, if there's any incident between the guard and any member of the public, they are required to write an incident. That incident goes to their management, and I also get a copy of it. And so we have had a couple of complaints, basically because people let in that they thought they should be let in or whatever. And we get a call almost immediately from management, and then we're able to discuss that with the guard, and there is a follow-up somewhat similar to any complaint about a police officer. There's written documentation of those.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Brian?
Thanks. I really appreciate the questions and answers from folks. Mike, if I could impose on you to maybe recirculate that information about the ID for council members. It did kind of fly under the radar with folks, so that would be helpful. And I just want to say, sort of along the lines of what Amber was mentioning, that I'll be really clear. I think it's unfortunate.
Brian, we just
From a financial standpoint.
hang on, back it up there a second. Brian, we lost you for.
Oh, is this better now?
Just start again. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully the thing came through about recirculating the memo for ID.
We got that.
And I wanted to say and acknowledge to everybody, including the public, it's unfortunate that we have to do this. It's unfortunate financially, but I'm also aware that, people will not, there will be people who find the security presence not conducive to coming to public meetings. So it's not a perfect solution by any stretch. And it, as Amber said, this has been imposed on us, the need for this reaction. And I just really want to acknowledge that it's not a perfect one, but we're trying to thread the needle as best we can. So thanks.
Great. I would add, so I appreciate the questions and the conversation this morning. This is a new era we're entering into, and we're trying to balance everything that we need to do to comply with state law, as well as make sure that everyone feels safe. And there is, I would just point out, there is a level of faith in all of this. Having a conversation with someone to see if they have a weapon, I hope that there is a lot of honesty there. But in the long run, I assume also that we're setting up this system as best we can for the physical premises that we have here, and trying to respect everyone's dignity and everyone's safety. But I assume, Mike, in the long run, there's also an eye towards the federal building, and if in a couple of years government relocates to the federal building, how security will work there. And frankly, most other places I go into, municipal, county, or city or state government around the country, there's security right at the door that you have to walk through, and it's everybody does it. And just like the federal building, the federal courthouse here. So I'm not sure how that will unfold, but I guess there's kind of two bites at the apple here. This is the first time around, and then there's going to be figuring out in the long run what will work at the federal building. I don't know. Did you have any comments on that, Mike, or thoughts?
Yes, I do. I want to make sure you understand that the question, the interaction and customer service they're providing is to start our conversation with anybody coming in. They can and do carry it further if they need to. They have wands for screening for weapons. So it's clearly, we don't have metal detectors to walk through, but we do have metal detector hand wands available that can be used if there's any concerns. And that moving forward years down the road, this is certainly something that will evolve for us, and we'll move into the federal building with the county as a partner, and we'll all have to agree to the same protocols that are used in that building.
Great. That's exactly what I'm envisioning. It's an ongoing conversation as we navigate all of this. The motion is in order. I'm going to call for public comment. Do not see anyone in the waiting room to comment on this. So first of all, I'll let the record reflect that Ms. Becerra is now in attendance. And are there any other comments from council? If not, we will take a roll call vote, Lisa.
All right. Bear with me here for just a moment. My computer is cooperating at the moment, so this is excellent. All right, Stacy Anderson,
Yes.
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Brian Von Lossberg,
Yes.
and Heidi West.
Yes.
That's unanimous for now, the 6 council members in attendance.
Great. I think we still do not technically have a quorum. We're getting closer, but we'll just note for the consent agenda that we did not have a quorum. Thank you, Lisa. All right, the next item, 3.5, contract amendment with Allegiance, our health insurance, and we again have Mike Brady. What do you have for us, Mike?
This is the continuation of the amendment for the administrative services for our health plan. And it's for the 6-month period that we have coming up from July 1 to December 31st. Allegiance has agreed to continue administrative fees in the same amount as they were for our last fiscal year. So the agreement calls for, I believe there's an attachment to your referral, and it notes the per member, per month fees that are associated with the administering of the plan. Those will not be changing from our current costs for this next 6-month period. As an update, we have, right now, we're right around 1,500 plan members on our city health insurance. So the ask today is to authorize the mayor to sign the amended administrative services agreement between the city and Allegiance, which extends the contract period and rates through December 31st, 2022.
Thank you. And so this, instead of our contract for health insurance running with our fiscal year, it will run with the calendar year. Is that basically what we're doing here?
Correct. We will start, our health insurance plan will be on the calendar year starting January 1.
And so when we set our budget in August, we will be anticipating what the following calendar year costs will be, or will we be finishing up the prior calendar year and then tacking on, am I saying this correctly? Adding on the January 1st on 6 months, will that just, how is this going to work in terms of our budget? How about I ask that?
Well, I'm sure that Dale and Lee will have more information available to you, but we're attempting to try and work scenarios for the 18-month period, but we do have to, currently, we're still on a fiscal year budget as we move to the calendar year, but in time it'll allow us to plan that ahead. So we'll be able to determine those rates ahead of time. And we're just now gathering the final information from our consultant Gallagher, and I believe that there will be further discussion about the costs coming up in your budget discussions.
Okay, that actually does answer my question. Dale, I'm not sure if you were tracking that conversation. I see that you're on the meeting, but I'm not sure that you're dialed in yet. Well, I don't think he is. That's all right. I think you answered my question, Mike. Stacy, you had a question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my question is that just from a logistics standpoint for our our fellow employees of the city who are on the city health insurance, our plan year just started over July 1st. So therefore our deductible limits just started over July 1st for those of us who have deductibles. So I'm wondering, are we in a situation where, we'll be, chunking away at whatever we pay towards our deductible and then have to start over again in January with a new deductible? Because then it feels like that's kind of like a penalty to our plan members. And I'll ask my second question just so it's all out there because it's interrelated. I know that we also offer an FSA, a health savings account deduction from the paycheck to help pay for medical costs. Is that changing in conjunction with the health plan? Because all of that had been on the fiscal year calendar and not the not the like calendar year calendar. So is there going to be changes to that so that our fellow employees can budget accordingly and make changes to their withdrawal without a penalty?
So the 6-month plan year deductibles were all cut in half. They're 50%, so that part of this 6-month plan is the reduced deductibles to avoid having an employee pay that full amount and then 6 months later have to turn around and pay again. And then, as I understand it, we can get more information, and we'll be presenting more information with the budget, but the Flex and the other programs will also be on the calendar year.
Okay, did that answer your question, Ms. Anderson?
Yeah, I just, and then I guess I didn't know about this, and how are we communicating this to employees so that they can plan accordingly?
HR has put out quite a bit of information, and we also had information during the open enrollment that just occurred in May, I believe.
Great, thanks so much. I see that Mr. Bickle has joined us. Do you have anything? I'm sorry, I just took over the chair position. Sorry.
I was curious to see where you were going to go with that, but very good. Hi, Dale. Good morning. I'm not sure if you were tracking as we've had this conversation about going basically from fiscal year to calendar year with the health plan. My question previously, and Mike, I think answered it, but maybe you have more to add, was how that will work with our budgeting in August well, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Sure. Yeah. So, we've been talking about this for a few years now, trying to align the plan. And it's both, and it wasn't intended to be a shift in cost at all to either the employees or the employer. It was but administratively, it helps on both sides. So it aligns the health plan year with W-2s and the flexible spending accounts that Stacy mentioned. The other thing is that it gives us time through the budget process to set rates accordingly, and then people can plan for that better. So right now, we are actually in our new fiscal year. Our new plan year has started. We haven't implemented new rates yet because they are part of the plan year. And with the change to the calendar year, people, when we have an open enrollment in November, if there is a change to the plan that is going to, with employees that have a choice between who they want insurance from, a spouse's insurance, for example, they can choose that in their open enrollment period, because now we'll align better. Now they have to make a decision in May on stuff that we haven't been able to decide yet because our budget process doesn't conclude until August.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Mr. Von Mossberg, question?
I just wanted to give a heads up to folks to check their email for a May 6th email. May 6th from K. James about open enrollment 2021. So May 6th email's got some attachments and some information about this change.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for this conversation this morning. I am not sure. Did someone put a motion on the floor? Brian, had you done that earlier?
I hadn't, but I'm happy to put it on the floor.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. Motion is in order. I'll call for public comment. There is no one in the waiting room, so no public comment. Any other comments or questions from council? This makes a lot of sense to me after having discussed it all. There are a lot of benefits, and it sounds like we're getting our house in order. So I appreciate that. All right, seeing no other comments or questions, we will have a roll call vote, Lisa.
All right, Stacy Anderson,
Yes.
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Brian Von Lossberg,
Yes.
Heidi West.
Yes.
So that is unanimous for all 6 council members in attendance.
Thank you. So that can go onto the consent agenda, noting that we do not have a quorum. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate all the information this morning. All right, our next item is 3.6, ordinance to amend the impact fee chapter 15.66 of the Missoula Municipal Code. And Dale, you are here to talk to us about that this morning.
Yes, thank you. I will share my screen shortly. I think just a little bit of background. At our last Impact Fee Advisory Committee, our longtime member, Jim Gallipo, who is a local CPA, announced he is retiring from the committee and is actually going to be no longer eligible to serve, as he's going to be living in Ravalli County. And so when we were reviewing the bylaws, it was noted that a holdover from previous law is still in the city's impact fee ordinance. Law previously required a member of the impact fee advisory committee to be a CPA, actual certified public accountant. Subsequent to that, the law was changed to eliminate that requirement. And after a discussion, impact fee advisory committee, we brought this forward to ask for a change in that to open it up. You know, and even Jim, the CPA, his comment was that it's not, you know, a CPA, the skill set of a CPA isn't really necessary. What would be helpful is, you know, someone with a background in government finance more than a CPA. However, what we'll do, I think we have begun recruiting for the open seat. But we'll try to fill that, but we didn't want to kind of artificially narrow it based on this old ordinance language. And so I'm going to share my screen real quick just to talk about after that background, and if I can do this right. Oh, and I can't see it. Let me see if I can. So I think what I believe you are seeing is the just a part of the referral that I'm talking about. Is that correct?
Got it. Yeah, we can see it.
So and then, you know, so at the bottom.
Point of order,
page,
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Stacy.
Sorry, I just wanted to make a point that from what I'm seeing on the screen, I believe is track changes that Dale and others have worked on. Don't know if that's probably not the version that we can see the comments in the far, what would be to me the right hand side of the document.
That's what I'm showing.
That?
That's what we're seeing. Is that what you want to be showing, Dale?
No.
All right. Thank you for that, Stacy.
Thank you.
Dale, it was actually the an executive budget document, not any, it didn't seem to be related to the impact fee ordinance.
Oh.
Okay.
That's odd. I'm not sure how I did that. Well, anyway, maybe I will just speak to it because I mean, it's just part of the referral document, because there are, so in addition to updating the committee membership, there were 2 other changes that we did, essentially clean up language while the ordinance was being amended. One was simply to update the references from development services to CPDI in the ordinance. And the other one was the ordinance language previously cited the original 2005 study as the impact fees, and rather than a subsequent studies, and the new language just updates that the methodology for the reports are adopted by council resolution. So those are simply the changes. So what staff's asking for today is a public hearing to adjust the ordinance. That public hearing would be July 26th with final consideration on August 9th.
Okay, great. Marty, are you sharing that now? Well, something was being shared.
I was, yes.
Okay, I was going to say it was too small for us to read. I don't know if there's a section that you want to pull up and then make it bigger for us to see or not, but I had looked through the documents ahead of time and had seen the changes. Were there any questions from council on this? I'm not seeing any. It's pretty cut and dried. All right, Ms. Cheryl.
I'm happy to make the recommended motion. I don't have any questions, so thanks, Dale.
Thanks. Great. That motion is in order. I'll call for public comment, but no one is attending A&F this morning. It's just us, so there is no public comment. So any other comments or questions from council to Dale regarding this? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
All right, Stacy Anderson,
Yes.
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Brian Von Lossberg,
Yes.
and Heidi West.
Yes.
So that's unanimous for the 6 council members in attendance.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. That can go on the consent agenda, noting that we do not have a quorum. And the final item today is 3.7, annual assessments for street maintenance, District Number 1 for the downtown. Marty Rabine is here to present on that. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, A&F committee members. How you doing this morning? So I am here with my annual presentation that's been occurring in some way, shape, or form before City Council since 1908 for the street maintenance district in downtown Missoula. The street maintenance district started out as a sprinkling district to sprinkle the dirt streets downtown and has evolved into providing extra street sweeping services and rubbish and recycling. Most areas of the city get swept occasionally, but downtown gets swept every week. And so for that extra service, this district pays a little bit of money to the street division for it. The city has a contract with the Downtown Business Improvement District to
is that the notion of the expanded CIT?
Dale, we can hear you, Dale. I don't think you're muted.
I just muted him.
There we go. Thank you.
The contract with the Downtown Business Improvement District is static this year. There is no increase there. The street division does have some increases to their collective bargaining agreements with the Teamsters who perform this work in the area. And so this year we are looking at assessments totaling 130. Let me look here. Now I've got Dale's impact fee stuff up. Here it is. Our assessments this year are going to total $135,534. And there is a spreadsheet that is attached to your agenda today. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, I don't know if you can make it bigger. It's pretty small, but much better. Thank you.
Better? Okay. I took a little bit different approach this year to show you where we were in fiscal year 2020 versus 2021 with our actuals versus our estimates. In fiscal year 2021, We were a little under recovered in street sweeping, and we were a little over with the trash and recycling. And I think that the reason why with the trash and recycling is that the downtown business improvement district in July and August of last year did not begin billing the city for the increase rates that you approved last year until September. So that's why there's this $3,500 savings. So basically, when you account the under recovery for the street sweeping and a little bit extra, we were really close, $950 last year in terms of our estimates. Like I said, we are looking at an increase for the street division for their services. And so overall, the proposed increase in this district is 2.64% increase in the district. State law requires that we conduct a public hearing on these assessments prior to their being finalized. And state law is very prescriptive about when you're going to do that. It says that you have to do this by the second Monday in August. And so this, with the timing of completing the fiscal year, we will need to hold a public hearing on the 9th of August, close it, and then move right into final consideration. We will not be able to take an extra week with this item just because of the statutory constraints that we have here. So today I'm looking for a motion to set that public hearing for the 9th of August and on the assessments in the amount of $135,543.
Great, thank you, Marty. Appreciate it, and I appreciate you laying out the timeline there. It is tight. Ms. Cheryl.
Marty, I appreciate your history there, that we were watering our dirt roads downtown. That really gives you a sense of how long this has been going on and how important this district is. I think this, having just spent some time in a city that is clearly not sweeping their downtown streets every week, I can tell you that this is an important expenditure, assessment. So I think it's a real benefit for the businesses. It makes it more appealing to be downtown. And I also think in our city in particular, it's really important because that trash blows into the river if we don't get it off the streets in those areas that are close. So I'm happy to make the recommended motion.
Thank you, Ms. Cheryl. That motion is in order. Any other comments or questions from council? Call for public comment, and we still have no one attending in the waiting room, so no public comment. Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, we will have a roll call vote. Lisa.
All right, Stacy Anderson,
Yes.
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Brian Von Lossberg,
Yes.
and Heidi West.
Yes.
Thank you. So that is unanimous for the 6 people in attendance. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. That can go on the consent agenda, noting that we do not have a quorum. And that concludes our agenda for today. So thank you, everyone, for showing up early this morning and everyone presenting. So we will be adjourned.